All right, new rumor. It seems like there's a new rumor every single day. New rumor. And Avengers Endgame. Is it going to Endgame? Yeah, am I going to watch it again? No. Doomsday. Is it getting delayed? That is the question. Kevin Feige, is he actually going to step down? When is he going to do it? Is there a plan in place? That's a rumor also. Lanterns. There's a new image that came out. There's more about the actual story itself. Superman. There's some screenings that took place. The other day we talked about it. They said, hey, everything's on track. It looks good. And there's another one. Now it says, hey, maybe not. It stinks. It's like, who do you believe? That and more. There's some other things I'm sure we'll discuss on the show here today with myself, Winston, and Coy. And I got a chance to watch the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. I did an immediate reaction to those episodes. My full, my non-spoiler review will drop the day that it comes out. But the actual reaction will also come out that day too. And so it's going to be, I'm going to give my thoughts because like I said, I was just able to do a social reaction to it. So I'm not really allowed to go into detail. So I'll go real quick. I'll tell the guys kind of what I thought and I'll tell you guys in the meantime. So it's myself. It's Winston A. Marshall. Coy Johns are all back together again. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I almost was going to text the guys and cancel the show today because I wanted to watch Daredevil. I was so invested. I was like, nah, I kind of miss Winston and Coy, so I'll do it. But I was locked in. I was real locked in. I can tell you that. So I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler of what I thought. It's Capes and Cows. Let's do this shit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kristian Harloff Show. Capes and Cows here today on this Friday. It is myself and Winston A. Marshall. Coy Jandro, the crew is back. Indeed, we are. Hello, gentlemen. How you doing? Oh, no, you're not doing too good because I can't hear you. Now I can hear you. Winston muted himself for some reason. I don't know what's happening here. It's still not. I can't hear you guys. Coy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Winston? No. Winston always has this problem. It's always muted for some reason.
I'm glad you chose your avocados at law over Matt Murdock's. I heard that was maybe on the fence.
Yeah. Nobody could hear him. Listen, so I told the crew, Seth, yesterday, and I'll tell you also, you'll be happy to hear this. I've been talking about it forever. One of the reasons that we moved the show to 2 is hit the gym 4 days last week. I saw your post. Are you doing the same thing?
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah.
I did leg day today before the show. It was
what
nice
about now?
Oh, hey.
There you go.
Damn.
So anyway, so we are back. The 3 of us are back talking all this stuff. So I'll get into it real quick. I can't really talk too much about it because the non-spoiler will come out once the embargo lifts. But all I'll say is that with my initial thoughts for Daredevil Born Again were, thank God they decided to retool this thing and go back to what worked in the first place because it still works. And it works damn good. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So, and I like the kind of legal crime, the procedural thing that they have going on with it, with the legal stuff, but it still incorporates the greater storyline of what both Matt Murdock and Fisk are going through. So it's wonderful. It really is so far. So but it's 2 episodes. Only 2 so
I'm glad we have another adult Disney Plus Marvel show. I feel like Loki, they realized they could do something a little more heady. And then Deadpool obviously did gangbusters. It feels like they're acknowledging that we've been doing this for almost 20 years. Like we should have some range.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move into some other big topics that got a ton of them this week. But before we do it, do you guys want to, do you want to guess who's in the lead? And B, do you want to guess how many?
I'm just going to say Roxy 5,000 questions.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's over 9,000.
Over 9,000 questions. Well, you're right about one thing. It's Roxy and Mike. 'Cause Mike jumped again because last week it wasn't Roxy. Last week it was Steph and Mike, and this week it was Roxy and Mike. Mike jumped 250. 250 is what we're working with.
So this is just the new norm now, and
for her. Those two are the only ones this week that even hit over 100. So yeah. So they just knocked it out of the park. Anyway,
aiming for second, living the dream.
Yeah, go for second. See what happens.
Live that dream, baby.
All right, here's the first story, guys, and it's a new rumor that's out there, and so we'll discuss it as such. Avengers Doomsday, the release could be delayed for a surprising reason, is the new report. And Cocoa Floss is here. All right, Cocoa Floss, beat it. Okay, rumors: Avengers Doomsday release could be delayed for a surprising reason. Avengers Doomsday begins shooting this April, but according to a new rumor, there's been some talk about delaying the movie, and we'll see Robert Downey Jr. suit up as Dr. Doom. Read on for details. Marvel Studios plans to begin shooting Avengers Doomsday in April. The movie will then see release next May, with Avengers Secret Wars set to follow 1 year later. As many of you have pointed out, it's an ambitious plan, but one they make work with Infinity War and Endgame. Much has been said about the Avengers Doomsday script not quite being where it needs to be, and on the hot mic, Jeff Sneider shared rumblings about a possible release date delay. He says, I heard a rumor that Doomsday might push. I think that the release date could push to the next slot. They don't know who's in the movie. That's what I heard. I heard we still don't know who's ultimately going to be in this movie and who's not. We don't know who's going to be available. I still think they're figuring out what that ensemble looks like. That would line up with Benedict Cumberbatch saying he wasn't set to appear in Avengers Doomsday, only to confirm a few years later that Doctor Strange does, in fact, have a role in the movie. It's shocking to think that Marvel Studios doesn't have its cast locked down, but they're all in-demand actors, and we've already heard chatter about a stuntman having to fill in for Tom Holland. If Avengers Doomsday moves, then the only other vacant slot on the calendar is November 6, 2026. It's not outside the realm of possibility, because don't forget, the original plan was for Avengers The Kang Dynasty to drop on May 2nd, 2025, with Avengers Secret Wars following on November 7th, 2025. Nothing is confirmed at this stage, but with the next Avengers movie going from shooting separately to back, it does feel like the clock is ticking when it comes to meeting those planned May release dates. That's really it. Yeah. Addressing the Robert Downey Jr.'s MCU return as Dr. Doom at the Electric State premiere, writer Stephen McFeely said, when I got the news this is where it was going, I thought it was pretty electric. There's an understandable desire to bring Downey back. To do it as Tony Stark would be betraying what I thought was a pretty lovely ending for him in Endgame. The Russo brothers were on hand, with Joe revealing it's all in London. We're shooting them back to back. It's a lot of work. We may or may not survive it. We'll see, but we're very excited about it. We found a way into the story, and we think it's going to be challenging for our audiences. It's challenging for us to execute, and it's really exciting for us. It gets us out of bed to do it. Well, that's good. I mean, obviously, that's what you want to hear people say. As far as it getting pushed, Coy, do you think, how much stock do you put in the fact that it could be getting moved? And the reason why is because, again, it does kind of line up a little bit if you think about it, because you knew with all of the movies that were leading towards Avengers Infinity War, there was like this narrative that was pushing towards that with every movie that came out. That hasn't been the case recently. You don't know what the hell is going on with these movies. So like they just feel like, oh, we need an Avengers movie to really say, hey, look what we got here. And they're like, well, we don't really know what we're doing yet. Is that a possibility? What do you think?
I think that the Doomsday Avengers movie will have to kind of assemble Avengers. Like we had the Avengers assemble in the first film, and then with Age of Ultron onward, they were teams. We don't have an Avengers team right now. So I think a big part of what that movie has to accomplish is bringing everyone together. Because I assume Thunderbolts is going to be new, takes on these characters, and things will evolve in that story. But I don't think we'll end Thunderbolts like, here's the Avengers. And then we know Fantastic Four is at least, partially, if not majority, Elseworld. And that leaves us leading into Doomsday. So I would expect the movie to have to be pretty huge. I assume it's going to be like Infinity War and Endgame, where it feels like a part 1 and part 2. I could even see it being a 3-part and having Secret Wars be split into 2 parts. But no matter what, Doomsday has to assemble an Avengers team and give us all the Doom context, even if he is briefly in Fantastic Four. And it's supposed to come out in 14 months. It's February's last day right now. Tomorrow is March. This movie's due out May 2nd, 2026. That's tomorrow. So right. I don't know how you could do production and post-production in that time. I know Marvel traditionally has a lot of their post-production done before they even start filming. That's how they were able to be, starting Fantastic Four as Superman Wrapped, because a lot of the film is done before, they're actually there. But that's still 14 months for an Avengers movie, and they're just going into production from the sounds of things. That's crazy.
You're buying this then, and if so, Does it get pushed to November, like potentially, like, or does it get pushed a full year?
I think November is possible. I think a year is tricky optics. I think Marvel is fighting two things. They're fighting, a realistic shooting schedule, which is impossible with something this big that quick. But they're also fighting the fan expectation and, people being like, Marvel's dead. And then that's their big comeback Avengers film. Like, no matter what Fantastic Four does, an Avengers movie feels like an event. And I think FF will feel like an event, certainly, but not to the same scale as an Avengers film. So I think pushing it a year, I think there's going to be a lot of people worried about Marvel and Disney and all that. So I think November is better optics. But if you need a year, take a year. Like, I hope that you can only release it once. It's only going to exist and however it's done. So I think they shouldn't have had a release date announced to begin with.
What do you think?
Fully agree with that. That should definitely not have announced a date. If this is what you're doing, push it to May, because the one thing that has remained consistent.
Push it to May, a full year.
If you're not ready, if you can't get it done in a year's time, and that's understandable since you're shooting essentially one giant epic, you're splitting into two. May has been associated directly with the Avengers. That has been their release date to do this. Every single movie. And
April, May, right?
Right. I mean, it started in April for that first one, and then it shifted into May and kind of just stayed there. That became the spot to kick off the summer and everything else like that. I think here's my thing. I know that they needed a lot to right the ship. The whole Kang, Jonathan Majors thing didn't work out. The multiverse has been just a complete travesty. You've had God knows how many different director changes, all sorts of execs getting fired, introduction of new shows that work, that don't work, all sorts of threads that have been pulled. At this particular juncture, I would be on the same page that I think everybody would prefer that this just be a blow your mind movie and you get it done right. Then we got to meet whatever time frame, and then things just don't align. And I think if you're already feeling this behind, why are you putting yourself up for potential failure of let's just push it a couple of months to November versus just give yourself the extra year to get it done? Because when you were doing Infinity War and Endgame before, not only had you already built up in the proper direction, you would set a plan and were able to follow through with it. You've had to change this plan 3 or 4 times now. So I would much rather you just give yourself the proper runway, no pun intended for all the planes that have been happening right now, and give yourself proper runway to get this done.
I respectfully disagree.
That's fine.
So it's a matter of, like, I think that you pushing it back to Coy's earlier point. I think that it's just optic wise, and then also where you're going to start to then have to push back other things, whether it's X-Men and that you start pushing it. Everything has to get pushed back a year, push back 6 months. It's already a piece of real estate that's there, and you don't necessarily even have to move the second one if everything is kind of moving if you can get it moving in the right order. Now, I definitely agree with that. You shouldn't rush it. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. I just think that pushing it a full year you're essentially pushing the whole slate back, and then you're pushing the X-Men back, and you're pushing everything else back. And that could be a big problem, especially when you need this movie to get people excited. As you guys both said, it's the Avengers movie, right? Like that's a big, huge movie. Now, I don't disagree that May is a better spot for a movie like that than November is. But November can still give you you can own November, and you can push that into December and really own it. And I'm surprised that they didn't even try to go to December. But
I was going to say, if you're going to take the Star Wars typical slot of
December.
December.
But I think what comes out, there's some big Disney movie that comes out, and
is it Avatar again?
Is it I don't know,
Avatar 3 and then 4, the 2 years?
I always just assume it's an Avatar.
Possible. It's possible. I can look it up in a second. But I just think that doing it that far out is just it could be an issue, especially because and if you are going to have Fantastic Four finally get you to a place, because it would be the next movie out, right? You'd be what, two years away from when you released it.
Real quick, I looked it up. December 2026. It's a canceled Star Wars movie. So
right,
the other stuff. Yeah, the other stuff that's kind of slated there: Untitled Universal, Jumanji 3, Shrek 5, and Dune Messiah is on Christmas.
Oh yeah. See, so I don't know. So I mean, yeah.
I wouldn't go up against Dune. That's so similar of an audience.
Yeah, I wouldn't go up against Jumanji. I wouldn't go up against. I mean, I wouldn't go up against. I mean, Shrek is going to take the kids away too. So I mean, it's already pretty stacked in December. But let's look at November. Well, right now it says there's Universal. Yeah, the untitled Marvel movie is set for November 6th. So and then there's a untitled Universal event film, whatever that is, Hunger Games, untitled Warner Brothers film, untitled Disney animation. So and then Narnia in IMAX. But that's only for like 2 or 3 weeks or something.
And but the only other thing that I'm seeing here, I mean, I know it's slightly different audiences, but right before that, the week before is Jordan Peele's 4th directorial debut or directorial film. So that's the only other thing. If it has any sort of Get Out type legs, if he's bringing that kind of heat again, then
yeah, but
something to keep in mind.
Sure, but I mean, but you look at scale wise, like those that
Sure.
is very different as far as scale. If you're going to decide if you're going to go into December, if you're going to go into November,
sure.
You know, that the Jordan Peele audience is going to show up. I make the point all the time that Jordan Peele is one of those people right now that you're just going to see the movie because Jordan Peele is directing a movie. You don't even care what it's about.
Yeah.
But it's also not a $200 million movie.
Sure.
So anyway, I think that moving it 6 months won't hurt it dramatically if they don't really have an idea. Now, I do think that they should move it if they don't have it ready. That I agree with you, Winston. If it's like we have to try to get it done, and we have to hit that date, that could be a disaster in general, especially if you don't even know who the hell's in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's an event. It's huge. Like there's so many moving parts in an Avengers film, and like they're not going to have enough Doom in just Fantastic Four to give him the relevance you need. So it's a Doom movie and assembling Avengers.
Yeah, you haven't locked in your cast. You haven't locked in like all that stuff. I mean, yeah,
14 months is crazy. Like at the end of the day, like 14 months is an indie film, not a tiny indie film, but like a medium, like a $40 to $80 million movie.
It could even potentially be a normal Marvel movie, but not just an Avengers, the double booked Avengers movie because they're shooting them at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like that even makes it worse.
Yeah. And I spoke when I said indie, I meant like mid-budget. Like this is a mid-budget timeline, and it's not a mid-budget movie.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I want to see how they're gonna play that, because it's a big thing that they will need. And like I said, if you have Fantastic Four comes out in July of this year, and then essentially you're supposed to have Avengers, if they set up the Avengers, which it looks like they're going to, because that's the next movie out is the Avengers, right? There's nothing else coming out after that. You have that full year. If not, like when was the last time Marvel had 2 years between a movie?
I mean, last year they only had Deadpool. They had a lot of shows,
but that was still a year. I mean, Deadpool was still a year from the last. I mean, not even. I mean,
I think it was like a November and then July or something.
Yeah, right.
And that's the first time they've done that since they started.
What else is on the docket right now, other than
Avengers movies?
The Avengers movies, and I guess Spider-Man. The only other thing is you could try and Spider-Man it forward.
Yeah,
guys, I know how we solve this. Make Blade.
I mean, haven't we been trying to do that? You know what? Easy. Last announcement for Black History Month, Blade is officially a go. It will be taking the Avengers spot, and Avengers will take Blades.
Yeah,
man, I want Blade. But yeah, it's crazy. Like this is such a different spot for them. They've got like 9 properties in 2025, and next year it's like.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna make it work, but we'll get more details soon. What do you guys think? Put your thoughts in there. Let us know. Do you think that they should move it? Should they try to stay on course with it? What say you? All right, before we get into other topics, I'm going to tell you guys, I've been telling you guys all week, we got some great sponsors here this week. And I have to tell you about our friends over at Robinhood and, of course, MANDO. Here you go. Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account. Interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine. Went on a first date the other day, and I said, hey, I understand you got to get all ready, you got to all spruced up, and I'm telling you what you really need to do, whether you're getting a new haircut, whether you're cleaning your car, you just the nerves start kicking in. Well, one of the things you want to make sure you have taken care of, you don't want to smell like an animal, and that's why you have to use MANDO. It's the best. For me, MANDO, look, I've been married for over 15 years, and I still making sure that my wife is pleased. When she goes, what's that? She can tell it's MANDO. Yeah, I'm confident. I like the spray, and it's not just for your pits. It's for everything. It could be for your thigh folds, your belly buttons, your butt crack, even your feet. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. It's the best. All products are baking soda free, paraben free. They are amazing. You can choose from a fresh scent, whether it's bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. I like the Pro Sport one too. I know that Winston's a big fan of the bourbon leather. So if you want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now, you can find them in Walmart, Target, other retailers across the country. For the best deals, you got to go to shopmando.com. Mando starter pack, it's perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant. It's got a cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash, deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Everyone loves free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers will get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack, but you got to use that code Kristian at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support our show, and you got to tell them that we sent you. When you sign up, tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with MANDO. Hey, MANDO. Thank you to our friends over at MANDO and, of course, Robinhood. Really appreciate them and appreciate you guys for supporting the show. And I'm telling you, this is so important. When you go and you get something for yourselves from our sponsors, it helps out tremendously. All right, guys, we also friend of the show, Matthew Lillard, was on not too long ago, and there's some new news about him. Great news. Winston, have you heard this news yet? Apparently not.
Maybe not.
Daredevil Born Again Season 2 adds Scream and Scooby-Doo. Matthew Lillard coming in hot. So this is a report here from Comic Book Movie. The Daredevil Born Again Season 2 cast has just expanded with the addition of a bona fide screen icon, Matthew Lillard. You can find everything we know about his MCU debut after the jump. Cameras have reportedly started rolling on Season 2 in New York today, and Deadline has shared some big casting news for the show. The trade reveals that Matthew Lillard is the first major addition to Daredevil Born Again's second season ahead of next week's 2-episode premiere. There's no word on who the screen icon will play in the series, and honestly, it could be anyone. However, given the adult tone of his revival, we anticipate seeing a different side of Lillard. While he's fondly remembered as Shaggy, the actor has shown his darker side on screen plenty on several occasions. While more actors may be added to the Daredevil Born Again cast in the coming weeks, they're likely already signed up for the series, and Marvel may choose not to reveal everyone we'll get to see, including certain Defenders rumored to appear. We've had the good fortune to chat with Lillard a couple of times. You can check out the conversation with him. And while we... No. Okay. All right. So this is great news. This is good news. And especially like I'm riding high on this show right now, obviously. And I'm telling you, like I said to you guys, and I was missing talking to you guys, but I'm not lying to you that I almost said, hey, maybe we postpone this week, because I was so locked into the show. And then after I'm done here with you guys, I'm shooting Matt Serra's show, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get choked out, so I'm not gonna cancel that. But I want to. And it also makes me say, okay, now that I know the type of show that I'm watching here and now that Matthew Lillard's going to be in this. I disagree with them. It's like, yeah, this is not a different side of him. He's played so many different things. You ever see him in Descendants? You ever see him in? He's played so many different types of roles.
Five Nights at Freddy's. I think of him as playing dark more than light.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, me too. Yeah, he's played a lot of different.
Like in his younger, like SLC Punk and Scooby Doo and stuff. But like as he's gotten older, I think he plays everything.
I mean, my most favorite like recent thing of his was in Good Girls. He was playing the husband of Christine. Was it Christina Hendricks? I can't remember which one of them. I think it was Christina Hendricks. He was fantastic in that, man. He was just playing like a dad that was all constantly cheating on his wife and then got caught up in drug deals. Like he was fantastic in that.
He's great. I'm telling you, like I said, I mentioned, like he is just such a funny dude in general. He's very intelligent, but it was my favorite memory when he came here. Like, not at me, but he was pissed because like he was caught in traffic. I told you this, Coy. He was caught in traffic for like from the city. If he would take a train, he would have gotten here 35 minutes, but he drove and took 2.5 hours. So like, when he got here, he was not happy. But I'll play it off of it, and he used that in the interview, and it was great. But I think he's going to be great in this show. Now, whether or not he's going to be a good guy or bad guy, I would probably lean towards bad if I was gonna guess. He does that very well. But Winston, the thing I wanted to ask you though is inside that article they mentioned like the Defenders and stuff is going to start showing up. Like who do you want to see besides Luke Cage? I know you said.
I mean, I would if they're going to do. I almost wish they would take a step back from the Defenders for a minute and instead just give me a Heroes for Hire. Like legitimately go figure out what you're doing with Iron Fist and get Luke and Iron Fist to collectively come together. That's a fun duo that ends up happening there, but like dealing with some serious stuff. That means you can bring Jessica Jones in at whatever point because she does help the two of them. And then that way you're keeping it small. You're not trying to make it some grand event. Like you can kind of take some of the heat off of any individual show of having to carry itself and really focus on relationship and whatnot. And then that also just gives you the path to add in, stoic actors like Matthew Lillard, who knows what he's doing with Daredevil, but like depending on the character, he could bleed over into that or something like that. I think that would work because other Defenders include at times the Hulk, Doctor Strange. They both have joined that, but you're not going to do that since they're your A-listers. You got them in movies. I highly doubt you're going to bring them into that. That could also be another path that, as we've agreed, people don't like the She-Hulk show, but they did like Tatiana Maslany, what she was doing with the character. So you could also then involve She-Hulk there, and then that way is a way to incorporate the character, keep some of those fans that are there, but not have to go back down that path with the show that people, apparently didn't like as a general whole, understandably.
Coy, what do you think about as far as Defenders go? Like, is anyone in particular that you think? I mean, is it kind of harder to answer right now because you haven't seen season 1?
I haven't seen anything of this season, but I do assume with Jessica Jones being so well regarded that would be a great start. I'd love for it to grow into all the Defenders, but I feel like Jessica Jones is like the easiest. And also, I'm going to shoot my shot with Matthew Lillard here. I'm hoping, because we already have Owlsley, we already have the Owl, who I would have cast him as. But I've always wanted to see Matthew Lillard play Carnage. It's one of my like time travel casts. If I was going to like take a time machine, Matthew Lillard Carnage is the dream. Jester would be really weird and cool. Jester is like a intentionally poor man's Carnage. He's like uses gimmicky things. He has a fear toxin. He's like an amalgamation of a lot of characters, but he's always like a really desperate man trying to make things right. And I feel like the comedy of Matt Lillard and like he could add desperation to a role really well. And I feel like, I don't know, Jester would be fun for him. There's a few other like criminal elements, like henchman type roles or like crime bosses, but I'd love to see him play something like big.
I love that they are approaching this. Also, one of the things I will say again without spoiler on the whole thing is that I like that they have confidence that it stands on its own. It's its own thing. It's its own world, and I love that, and I love that about it. So and I like that they can set that up because I feel like my personal opinion. I don't know. I've only seen 2 episodes. I got to watch the whole season, but if people respond the way that I did, I feel like more people are going to care about this universe than they are what they're putting in the theater right now. It's to me, I cared way more about the people in these first 2 episodes than I cared about anybody that I have in the MCU for quite a long time. So we'll see. But I'll tell you something I am looking forward to seeing, and I can't wait. Again, TV, and that is Lanterns. That's right. Lanterns. There's more news with Lanterns. That's part of the shot from Lanterns. Of course, that's Aaron Pierre from
Mufasa.
That's right. Following our
you don't get that, do you?
Yeah, he's from Mufasa.
So real quick, Jennifer Hudson. It's like show. Anytime someone comes on the show, they do like some song for them to dance in the hallway, and that went viral amongst black folk, especially black women, because they were like, "That's Mufasa. Oh, what else Mufasa do?" It just became like a whole thing. Never mind.
Tell me after the article. Come on, man. It's like you have like the Austin Powers intrusive thoughts that just like come out. You just have to say it like when it comes out. just off air. All right. Lantern showrunner says the series will be grounded without sacrificing the magic of the source material. Following our first official look at Lanterns, showrunner and executive producer Chris Mundy has weighed in on the overall tone the DCU set series will be looking for. The first official promo image for HBO's Lanterns was released on Thursday as filming officially commenced, giving us a look at stars Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre in their respective ring-slinging heroes, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Characters were not in costume, but the signature ring of the Green Lantern Corps was visible on Chandler's finger. Now, though there is a lot of excitement for this series, the decision to take a more grounded approach to a sci-fi superhero comic featuring an army of space cops protecting the universe from alien threats has left some fans baffled. Showrunners and executive producer Chris Mundy has now assured fans that Lanterns won't sacrifice the magic of the source material. From the start, our driving force has been to deliver a layered drama rooted in nuanced storytelling and rich world building that balances tension and mystery with honest, authentic emotion. The goal is to create something that feels timeless and grounded without sacrificing the magic of the source material. Now this is the shot right here. And let's see if I can bring that up. Should be in just a moment here. I'll bring up the photo a little bit better than we can see it there. Hold on. Because they released this, I think it was yesterday or the day after. I don't remember. There it is. Let's see. Okay. So there's the actual photo there. And you can see it. Like you see the ring on the right finger if you really kind of look at it. There it is. Great picture. I get the tone. Understand it. There's nothing to it except two dudes standing in the. If you didn't have the ring on, you wouldn't really know what necessarily it is. But I like kind of that chiseled look from because you got Kyle Chandler almost looking like Pedro Pascal over here. And
he looks great.
He does.
Honestly, I really like it. It's one of those situations. I know people were worried. Oh, is he too old to be doing all this? Blah blah blah. But like he looks genuinely just like a weathered.
Yeah,
Hal Jordan, and I love that.
Me too. And Coy, I like the fact that they're going for this tone, because I think if you want to get more people involved in it, and you want to get more people outside of just the comic book world, like following the show, you got to do what Daredevil's doing right now, and you got to make it like okay, because like I could show Daredevil, the 2 episodes I just watched, I could show that to someone who's never seen a Marvel thing before, and said, "Hey, watch this." And I guarantee the people that I'm trying to show that with, if they like the types of, action dramas, legal things, they're going to dig it, whether it's Marvel or not. And I feel like this is that type of grit kind of show that they're going for. Would you agree?
I agree. And I think in the early 2000s, there was an era of like gritty and grounded that was kind of negative. Like I think we misused and we overused after Nolan's Batman. There was a time in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but I feel like we're coming around to how to make things gritty and grounded. I think, it's a space cop show, Green Lantern and Space Cops. I'm more interested in a detective, true or not, but a deeply grounded show about that era to lead to me caring about these characters that then goes cosmic. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is an incredible fluke where I usually don't love cosmic stuff, but the characters are so good that it works in that world without me having time to like build to that team. But overall, cosmic takes, work and you have to be invested for me. So I love the idea of starting with a cop show that is terrestrial, that is here, and then growing this characters out. I also think the Penguin's a great example. Like the Penguin could have been very big and garish, and instead they make it about like lower income people in Gotham that we usually don't get to see. Usually it's if you're in the Narrows, you're just getting punched by Batman. And like, I love that we're getting to find out the disparity of wealth in Gotham, so we care about more. And I think if you do that with the space cops and you care about the Earth cops first, and then they go cosmic, great.
Winston, what do you think?
I mean, I have always been on board with this. This has been the one DC thing that I've talked about the most. It actually might be the thing that I'm the most excited about, if I'm being honest, of all the things that have been announced. When your comp is True Detective meets superheroes, I was like, yeah, sign me up. Especially if you're talking that first season. The first season of True Detective has gone down as one of the best seasons of television. So I'm fully here for it. I think that from the start, they have been very meticulous in how they wanted to go about doing this. There's no part of it that has felt rushed. They were very careful about their casting. All of that sounds good. And then to see even just that initial image looks absolutely great. And so I think the other thing, because there's always been a lot of people that are already concerned and well, I hope you don't take the mysticism away. That's part of what we were just talking on the article. I think just have a little bit of faith here, because we have seen plenty of, like, even though Peacemaker was ridiculous, the one thing you will give Gunn credit for is that it still felt very real. You just added fantastical elements. I think you're getting the same thing here with the team that Gunn has put together, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, and it just does depend what right now there's this air of hope as Superman is approaching, right? So it's like, okay, here we go. If Superman delivers, then everybody's gonna be like, oh, what's next? Lanterns. Now Superman doesn't deliver. Lanterns is going to be like, okay, now what are you going to do to this thing? And the other day we had a report that the test screenings at Superman were going good, and that Gunn had kind of redone some stuff, and it was looking good. Well, now there's another rumor, which is one insider calls Superman terrible after test screenings. And now also Clayface casting rumors heat up. We have more chatter about Superman's internal test screenings, and this time the buzz isn't quite so positive about the DC Studios reboot. There's also an update on who's being eyed for Clayface. This week, DC Studios shared a slew of updates and minor announcements about the DCU's future. However, any positives have largely been overshadowed by the fact everything from the Authority to Booster Gold and Waller have run into problems. On the one hand, it's hard to fault James Gunn and Peter Safran for their transparency. On the other, people feel they have inadvertently painted a picture of two creatives who may be in over their heads. Superman will be the big test for DC Studios, and yesterday evening the news broke via The Wrap that marketing veteran Ricky Strauss has been tapped to consult for DC Studios on the movie. It's an intriguing move, and one that's led to renewed speculation about how much hinges on Superman's success. Earlier this week, Jeff Sneider brought word that the reboot's internal test screenings have been receiving a warmer response than last December. One source, however, counters that. Talking on the hot mic, the season reporter revealed, I got a call from my best source after that newsletter. He said, great newsletter tonight. You just got one thing wrong, and that's about Superman, which I continue to hear is terrible. Interestingly, it was during the aforementioned press that Gunn walked back his previous comments about likely not doing any reshoots whatsoever. He said, we've done real screenings, definitely learning stuff all the time, definitely editing and making little changes. We might shoot a couple things, tiny things. All my additional photography is so hard because it's like I used to be kind of against it because, you don't want to have to shoot again. It's a pain in the ass. I really like being able to say, you know what? I wish I had a shot that fist hitting that, and so I tend to go back and pick that kind of stuff up, so it wouldn't be anything major, but those kind of things, yeah, I'll cover you a couple more things like that. In other DCU news, Snyder has said that DC Studios is currently looking for Daniel Radcliffe or Kieran Culkin type to take on the lead role in Clayface. While this doesn't necessarily mean either will play the role, the Snyder took issue with Gunn's claim that the Harry Potter star hasn't been considered. Either actor would be an interesting choice. And with production expected to begin real soon, official casting news officially heading our way imminently. Superman, DC Studios' first feature film to hit the big screen, is set to soar into theaters worldwide this summer. In his signature style, James Gunn takes you in. We see all that stuff. Okay. All right. I think we're going to all have the same answers here. And essentially is you're going to keep getting reports about test screenings that either everybody loved it or people hated it. And it's right now, that's where we are with this movie. And I think that until we get the first thing that's going to be telling to me is when they screen it. Are they going to screen it on, the Monday before the movie comes out, or, a week before the movie comes out, or are they going to screen it the Thursday night before it comes out? That's when you can tell, because you look at what was it recently? There was, what the hell just came out? It was like
Captain America. Captain America. The screenings were Monday and Tuesday, with the movie coming out Thursday. That is not a good sign. You typically want at least a week at minimum, if not 2.
Winston, I don't even think it was Tuesday, Monday, man. I think it was. It was
Tuesday. I think
Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, it was the 1 day early screening, and I think the embargo was Wednesday for the Thursday release.
I think that's what it was. I think that's more so what it was.
Because there was a hold. I remember holding, and I was like, "It's out in like 48 hours."
That's exactly what it was. It's more so the embargo too, because a Monday, honestly, Winston, like the week of that coming out that Monday, that's normal. Monday screening.
The embargo is also up then.
If the embargo drops
at Monday, and they're like, talk about it.
Yeah, and it's like when you get out of the theater, you could like the Captain America one. I saw 10 in the morning on a Tuesday, and the social embargo didn't drop until like late that night, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh. And then the review embargo dropped the next day, which for that movie, I don't think that was necessary for the social. I think you could have done that and it would have been fine. But I just think they were so damn nervous about it. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But Winston, what do you think about these reports? Do they get you nervous at all? Or is it kind of what I'm saying? We'll see what happens when the movie comes out.
I stand in the same camp that I said beforehand. We are still months away from this. This is still turning in research papers, turning in your thesis. You're going to get a bunch of, this is great. I love this. You need to fix this. That's just something that happens until we get to the 11th hour. If we're talking about this, and it's because this is what, July 11th. We're talking about this in May, and they're maybe even April, late April. If you're looking at test screenings, like, I don't know, man. Okay. Then I'm gonna start to sweat. But now we're still in a phase where the cuts need to change. Ooh, we do need that extra fist hitting, whoever. Like it just that is normal, and I think that's the one thing that I don't love about this era of news, which applies to all news, not just movies and stuff like that. We are too jacked in, because this is the type of thing that would not have been a news story in, say, the mid 2000s. It would have been something that we would have known nothing about, but because we are so, what's happening with this now, this is the stuff that gets reported, in which case then it's a big hubbubaloo of like, oh my god, is this going to be horrible? Versus the 2-ish weeks leading up to the movie, which is normally when stuff like this happens. Unless something crazy happens, unless an actor gets arrested during production, then that's the type of stuff we would have heard about before all this,
Yeah. Coy, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
I mean, on the macro, I got nothing against Jeff. He's a Boston boy. He's doing his job. I just don't tend to trust scoopers. They need clicks. So one person saying like, it's awful, it's going to get them more clicks than people being like, it's good. Like, it's just the nature of that part of the job.
To be fair, Coy, to be fair, yesterday, that's exactly what he said.
But that's what I'm saying is like that. And the one from today is going to get him more clicks. Like, so they're both going to get him clicks, and that's the job. Like, that's what a scooper does, right? So like, I think he's just doing his job, which is putting out the thing that's going to get the notice. So like, it might be true, it might not, but either way, by the time it's relevant, clicks are clicked. So I will see the movie, and I think screenings are natural and a part of the thing. But when they're 5 months out, like, I don't know where we would put weight, right? Like, if the movie's not done and it's not up for 5 months, I'm not sure how we could even judge based on something this loose. But I think we're all in agreement that we're excited for it, and that we don't know how a screening this early could really affect that, except for like a report.
This is what I will say about these reports, whether true or false, whoever's opinions of the people who saw it, right? Which we can get into in a second also, by the way. It's not going to make anybody not see this movie. If you want to see it. Now, to go after that point, I do believe that that's exactly what Jeff Sneider is hearing, and I believe that's why he said it.
I don't think Jeff's lying.
I don't think so either.
I know. But my point with it is that here's the question: who is telling Jeff that, or the person that told him, I'm hearing it's terrible? Okay, is it the same kind of asshole that talked on the Oscar saying that they even refused to even see Dune 2 because Dune 1 was boring.
I knew you were going to be mad about that. I knew you were going to be mad about that.
I'm also mad about the Ray Fiennes thing, that they refused to give it to Ray Fiennes because Ray Fiennes was in one for Schindler's List, which he didn't win, moron. So are those the same kind of idiots that are seeing this movie and saying, hey, I didn't like this movie?
And they would be Industry Insider. Like,
right.
It's the same thing. Industry Insider says Dune 2 boring would be the headline that I understand someone running. I just don't take that with much weight.
Now, if you off air had said to me, hey, listen, and you didn't, by the way, I'm making it very clear. But if Coy was like, hey, I saw it and it's okay, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous then, because I trust Coy's opinion on this stuff. Same with Winston. I trust their opinions on this stuff to where, to me, that's and I can also say that maybe the person that's said it was terrible is that type of person. I just don't know it. So you can't because think of a movie that you love. Think of a movie that you love. And let's say that movie has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. 7% of them might have been the ones who told Jeff Sneider that was terrible.
Right.
And it's his job to say, I heard this.
Yeah.
And it's our job to go, what weight does that have out of context? And does that affect us anyway?
Right. And he's aware of that too. He's aware of that too. He's like, this is what I heard. And this is take it for you. In the same way I told you that I heard it was good, I also heard it was not good. So
I mean, in like literally in the same way that just a random example, because like you said, you don't have any context as to who and is saying it and all that kind of stuff. It'd be the same thing. It was like, man, I heard Kristian was over here being like, man, you acted like a little bitch when he was in his house, and we were like, oh my god, I can't believe he would say that to his family. It's like he was talking to the dog. Dog's being a little bitch. Like there's no context as to where this is coming from, and that's not knocking on Jeff, because Jeff does a good job. It's just without anything else to kind of know what's going on there, it feels a little bit like a nothing burger because.
And if you asked me about a country album, I would be the one of the 7% that wouldn't have anything nice to say. But you're like, that's also tricky, like genre wise. Not everyone likes superhero stuff, and that's their right not to. But that also is tricky when we are excited for something. Like, I wouldn't listen to country, but if someone asked me like, what did I think of blank? I'd be like, not my thing.
Right. Well, either way, we're going to know soon enough, as Winston said, because it comes out in July. I think that this will be the last story, actually, until we get to or close to it, because there's a new story that just broke that I think that we should definitely talk about. And Marvel's Brad Winterbaum talked on the rumor that Avengers Secret Wars will reboot the MCU. He said, we've heard that the rumor is that Avengers Secret Wars will serve as a soft reboot of the MCU, and Brad Winterbaum has now addressed these claims. Though there's never been anything too solid behind these claims, several online scoopers have reported that Secret Wars will serve as a soft reboot of the MCU. With everything going on in the multiverse and the amount of potential paths bringing characters from various alternate universes together present, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility if the studio did decide to retcon certain elements of the shared world while building towards a fresh start for the long-running film and TV franchise. Brad Winterbaum was asked about the possibility of an MCU reboot post-Secret Wars during an interview. He said, you can't really fully reboot anything. It's a very difficult thing to do in a living, breathing fictional universe, to just start from scratch because of all the fan investment and love for the stories that have come so far. It's worth repeating that nobody ever said a full reboot was on the cards, and Winterbaum's response to a question about a soft reboot would probably have been a lot more interesting. That said, as the exec himself makes it clear, he is involved with the television and streaming side of the MCU, so Kevin Feige would be the one to ask, not that anyone would really get a straight answer. Avengers Doomsday arrives May 1st, 2026, we think. They didn't write that, but that's what they should have wrote. Anyway, okay, so soft reboot. Technically, that could be true depending on where they go with it, right? We keep thinking that whether it's the X-Men or Fantastic Four, we're going to follow people that are from different universes. So could you basically say, okay, this is a soft reboot because where we're going to go after Doomsday is over, or if Secret Wars is over, is we're going to follow the X-Men from that universe, which also kind of lines up with the Fantastic Four. Our other universe, it exists. We're not rebooting it. It exists over there, but everything else, we're now going to take place in, we're going to tell stories in this universe here. So it's not essentially a reboot, but they're just shifting of where they're going to focus the actual storyline. Does that make sense, Winston?
Yeah, I think that is what you should do. That's kind of what was supposed to happen in the phases 4 and 5, and we did, but I don't think we ever really had a direction. It felt more like we had a theme. I will give them credit on the theme of loss and grief and what next was properly done. However, it just didn't ever come together. You know what I mean? Like, I think we can all look at all of those various stories that did come out. And that was there. The theme was strong throughout, but the movies just didn't, the shows even, they just didn't really properly ever overlay and connect into a thing. So if what you're doing is you're saying that the reboot is what should have happened after Endgame, then and properly get us into our next phase, then yeah, that makes total sense to me.
Coy, what do you think?
I think, especially in this genre, it's complicated because things have been rebooted. Like Spider-Man, you're doing Spider-Man reactions right now. Spider-Man's been rebooted, but then in a long enough timeline, it's all canon. So I personally think what they'll do is use like incursions or use the different, universes to make a streamlined narrative for a while. Mm-hmm. But, on a long enough timeline, in 10 years, we might need a big cataclysmic event and we can bring characters back. But I do think there will be a narrowing of focus. So it is akin to what you're saying. Like, I don't know if it's going to be just one universe over there while we know stuff's over here, or if they'll do like they did with the Ultimatum, where Miles Morales was all they really wanted to keep from the Ultimate Universe. The Maker and Miles, few characters, they kind of just folded them into the main universe. They might do something like that where it's like these things worked and new universe.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what they're going to wind up doing, because it's like they got to set things up and get away from just the multiverse side of it at all. It's got like whether loops are closed or whatever it might be. And yeah, you mentioned Spider-Man. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's probably why we were talking about that first story about the delay, because they probably have to figure out how to mix it. I think that it was the riskiest thing that they did, and I give them props for trying it, but it really didn't work. The multiverse stuff, it just didn't work. I mean, the No Way Home stuff was awesome, right? And there was some, and like seeing certain things, it's in theory, like the stuff with Deadpool and how that worked, but overall, for the entire MCU, it just didn't work. So we'll see if they can make that work going forward and just focus in on one particular universe.
Real quick, I know that there was a story that we were going to potentially talk about. I feel like the biggest piece of news that like kind of upset me is the fact that X-Men 97 has been pushed to 2026 now.
Let me find that. I'll bring that up in a second. That would be the last one that we can close out with here. Yeah, I got it. Hold on a second, because we had same Brad Winterbaum was again on there talking about it. So we will bring that story up and then we will close it out. Okay. Brad Winterbaum confirms that season 2 won't arrive until 2026. I mean, that's only a year, Winston. So do you think it was coming this year?
It's not. I mean, yes and no, because the main issue, and it's in the story, and I've heard kind of what he was talking about, and I've kind of been following what's been going on with the whole Bo debacle and whatnot. Like, Bo, in my opinion, has got to stop talking. I feel like he's digging himself a bigger hole for whatever this lawsuit is.
His video did nothing. His video didn't do nothing,
because that was apparently the original one that he put out on the OnlyFans. There wasn't really any evidence there. It was just a lot of hearsay and then no receipts. So it's kind of like, okay.
And it's just like you can tell that what you just said about him too. About he just doesn't have public opinion. He doesn't have they're not on his side. Yeah. And it's like, regardless of whether how many of the claims might be true or not, he did too much damage to himself in general. So it's like, yeah, he just needs to be quiet.
He does. And so I think what's happening now is that, and this is the frustrating part, regardless of how you feel about who he is as a person and what he's done, and there's a lot to potentially one way or the other, whether Disney did stuff or he did stuff, clearly what he put out as a story was fantastic and was received exceptionally well. It is very clear that they are ripping that to shreds and kind of starting over, because he had the second season apparently was already completed and they had already had outlined the third. There's no reason that it should be this delayed unless, and it even says the scripts aren't ready. So that means that they're kind of went back to the drawing board. So now I'm nervous because what was already a fantastic foundation, you've decided, meh, and you've kind of bulldozed that. And whether that's because you don't want Bo involved at all or what, that is the one thing about this delay that worries me. And on top of that, animation takes longer to get done at times. That's part of the reason why Beyond the Spider-Verse, which was supposed to drop last year, is nowhere to be seen for until next December, I think.
Yeah, well, let's see what the actual story says here though too. So it's like last year there's a rumor that did the rounds that the highly anticipated second season of X-Men 97 wouldn't premiere until 2026, and the lengthy wait has now been confirmed by Brad Winterbaum. Season 2 of X-Men 97 is going to be in 26. We're just working on it now. It's exciting. That world of the 90s is just, honestly, I can't believe they let me make it. I grew up at Marvel, as you know, clocked a lot of time here, and I feel like I used a lot of currency to revive this thing that I love watching after school. So the fact that we get to play in this universe with those actors is honestly why I went into this business in the first place. When asked if we could expect more animated shows and possibly a feature to be announced soon, played it a little closer to the vest. He said, it's all in the preliminary. As you know, we're developing more than we make, so I don't want to announce anything before it's ready, but there's hopefully some exciting stuff on the horizon. Honestly, if the scripts for season 2 of the X-Men 97 are being worked on, we say 2026 might be ambitious when you think about how time-consuming a full season of animated television is to produce. Although the recent Disney Plus show served as a revival of an animated series that aired 25 years ago, the decision was made to keep the action rooted firmly in the original era. But with reports that Marvel Studios fully intends to keep the show going for as long as possible, could the mutant heroes make the jump to the noughties? During a 2024 interview with Discussing Film, Jake Castanera was asked if they intend to hold to the 90s aesthetic, and he anticipates the show taking influence from later comic book runs for the second season. So, Coy, what do you think about basically what Winston said, what the comments are here? Did you expect X-Men by the second season to come out this year?
I personally didn't. I always hope, year after year we get it like we used to, but I think it's weird. The Bear feels exciting because it somehow comes out every year. Right. It's the exception, not the rule now. Like whenever I'm like, oh, the Bear did it. Like, what a miracle. Like, but that is like the exception. It's not.
Look at Daredevil, though. Again, bringing up Daredevil. They're shooting now so they can have a second season come out next year.
Yeah. But, with animation, I had hoped for this year, but there was way more behind the scenes, mess than I think they obviously anticipated when they launched the show. But remember, even launching the show, everything shifted the week of the premiere. We all thought the show might not be good because of how messy things were the week of. So things have been a mess for about, a year, and the show came out late summer, fall. So if it comes out summer, fall, then it's only a year delay, and that's not awful if they had to kind of retool everything. That said, I am curious what the show, what teams they kept, who they kept, what writers they kept, because I really think that first season is so good. I'm more worried about the below-the-line crew than the timing. I hope to still be alive in 2026, so it doesn't really matter to me.
But I think that's what I was trying to get at, is it's not that I don't have enough patience to be like, okay, it's coming out next year. It's the fact that it was already reported that 2 was done. 2 was essentially locked, and that was the thing, is that it was going to be the kind of quick succession. And the main thing was you tool minor things while you're animating, and then you're working on 3. It sounds like almost gone back to the drawing board for 2 if it's this delay that they're still working on scripts. That really worries me. That is more where my concern for the quality of the show comes from, is not, man, I gotta wait a whole extra 9 months.
The concern is about we did know, hey, we're good, we're done, button it up, and now a delay means. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, well, either way, what do you guys think? Do you think that we're gonna get it in 2026 at all, or they're gonna push it to 2027? It's just gonna be a Spider-Man situation, the Spider-Verse stuff, which we didn't really get into, but it's the same type of thing. What say you guys? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. All right, before we get to your questions, I do want to tell you guys about our friends over at NordVPN. If you're watching a sporting event or a TV show or a film which you aren't available in your region, you can switch your virtual location to a country which is showing the event. You can protect your private data like bank details, passwords, online identity. NordVPN can switch your virtual location, allowing you to save money by purchasing flights, hotels, subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. It is the fastest VPN in the world. There's no buffering, there's no lagging while streaming, and it stops your ISP bandwidth throttling. So one NordVPN account can be used on up to 10 devices. But if you want to get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, you got to go to nordvpn.com/KH show. Our link will give you 4 extra months on that 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the description of this video, NordVPN. Thank you to NordVPN. Thank you to all our sponsors here today. You know, Coy, you mentioned Sam and I were doing the Spider-Man movies right now, and because it's hilarious because her son, the only Spider-Man movie she's really ever seen was Spider-Man 3. She saw that.
Wait, what?
Well, her son used to watch it all the time. So it's very nostalgic.
Solo.
I know. It's very nostalgic. It's very nostalgic for her. So we actually watched that one yesterday. And I remember when the three of us did our rewatch for it, and I think that we were all on the same page. Like, yeah, it's not great, but there are some moments. It's like there are some moments in that movie that are not bad, but there's some really, really, like, you talk about going for the bit. There's a lot of times there's one thing where J. Jonah Jameson is like at the very end. First of all, the cops do absolutely nothing. They're just staring up, watching all this stuff happen. They're not scrambling, trying to get up the building, nothing, just watching. And then there's this whole bit with this kid with J. Jonah and the camera, and it's like a minute and a half bit. And it's like, let's get back to the action. And Topher Grace I like Topher Grace, and just worthless in this movie. Anyway, so
look, I'll be honest with you. The kid thing was refreshing in the sense that at that point in the movie had fully shit the bed, so it was kind of like this is a fun little intermission,
right? Like a palate cleanser almost. Yeah, I understand that. But we got through that. We're going to be watching Amazing Spider-Man next. People keep asking if we're going to do Spider-Verse movies. The answer is yes, not right away though, because. The reason why we're watching this, because like I said, and I just don't want to, if you are tuning into this, I don't think you are, but if you are tuning out to this, I'm going to spoil something. So the reason why I'm showing her these movies in general is for the whole Toby Andrew side of things, right? And obviously when they show up, I want her to be surprised. I don't want to show her Spider-Verse yet because I don't want her to know anything about multiverse yet. I want her to learn about multiverse when it plays, because if she starts seeing multiverse stuff now in the animated stuff, she's gonna be like, oh wait, what? First of all, she'll be confused. Second of all, she's gonna maybe start putting it together. So I don't want to do that. People go, why don't you watch Spider-Verse right afterwards? I'm like, no, not yet.
Especially considering because she watched all the MCU stuff, so she's seen Homecoming and Far From Home, right?
She has not seen Far From Home yet, but that's after
after Garfield, I assume, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't mean no way home. I home.
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil the ending for her because it wouldn't make sense to her.
Jonah's at the end of Far From Home.
Winston.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Garfield, then Far From Home.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I guess that's why it threw me off, because in my mind I was like, I figured she would have seen that at the bare minimum. But
no, that's why I show it for her.
That makes sense. But the reason why I asked that question is because obviously Donald has a cameo in the second Spider-Verse film, so I'm not wanting to confuse her.
Exactly. So like, let her get a little used to it first. So, but the answer is we are absolutely going to do those. I want to watch them again. Plus, I think she'll really like those movies a lot. She loves animated in general. But her nickname for Mary Jane is incredible. She calls her Sucia, which means like dirty in like Spanish or something. It's like she calls her Sucia, little Sucia, and it's like it kills me because
in like a good way.
No, Kirsten Dunst is great. She's a great actress. I love her. It's not her fault. Mary Jane, the character, is an asshole.
Yep,
she's a straight up in those movies. A straight up ass. She leaves that dude at the altar. She's jumping back and forth with Harry and Peter like it's like nobody's business. She gets mad at Peter when he's like, oh yeah, I got my stuff going on in Spider-Man, but yet she just wants to talk about her stuff. She kind of is the worst.
I think what it is, and that's the part that I don't get, because as a kid they're like, they're just all adults, but like they're supposed to be between the ages of like 17 and like 22, and all I know is I was a dick between the ages of 17 and 22. What? And not even necessarily in like the out here just playing girls type stuff, but I was just like drunk all the time and just made stupid jokes, and I just made bad decisions, and both of them make horrible decisions, all three of those movies.
Yeah, it's not the best. So anyway, so I just want to tell everybody that's what we are. We put out Spider-Man 2 today. That's the other thing, Winston. The reaction that's coming out tomorrow, we're gonna put one out on Saturday, is Craven. I watched Craven with Tina.
Social reaction. How did you feel?
It's not the best.
Okay.
But I think that you said this to me and you're 100% right. I'm watching the first 15, 20 minutes and going, this isn't that bad.
Right.
And then it's Fantastic Four.
Something happens. I can't explain it.
It's just not good. It's not like but I don't know if anybody said this. I disagree with them wholeheartedly. It's way better than Madam Web.
Oh,
yes.
It is, but it doesn't really know what it wants to be. It kind of, Aaron Taylor Johnson's great. Ariana DeBose is wasted. But it's like, it just doesn't know what it wants to be, and they just never going to get the Rhino right. They're never going to get it right.
They're not, and I think the other thing that probably screwed it is, remember, Craven also went through extensive reshoots, and that's what gets dangerous about doing such reshoots without just starting over, is then you kind of get a weird tonal thing that doesn't always match up, and you think it does as you're making it, but then there are other people watching and go, why isn't this
right? Yeah,
aligning?
Line it up. Well, anyway, so that's all the stuff that's coming up. We're going to now get into your questions, but before we do, speaking of things coming up, Coy, what do you got going on the channel, man?
I just put out my stuff leading up to Daredevil. Going to be dropping a Daredevil comic recommendation video. Going to be covering each and every episode of Daredevil over on my personal page. Also, This Week in Comics every week. Also, the biggest movies of the week. Lots of stuff over on my page. Approaching 44K on the road to 50. Also, every other week, DC Studios Showcase on Max and Max's YouTube. Also, every single week, Koicast. Also, every single week, Real Rejects. Also, every single week, Attempted Sleep.
Winston, how about yourself, man?
What's going on? Sleeping, boy. What you talking about?
So tired.
So Blur Breakdown has been officially moved to Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So come and hang out as I got the pop culture show for when you need to know, see what happened was. And we're talking all things comics, movies. We do Did He or Didn't He, all sorts of stuff there. I'm going to be doing short, like one story videos the other days of the week, and then my reactions, I'm kind of stockpiling them right now so then those can come out consistently, and I think I'll release those on Saturdays will be the way to go, so you can also check out some of that stuff too. All
right. And yeah, as for you guys, again, we just hit on our channel here, we're at 183,000 right now, almost at 184, so we're trying to push to 200 this year, so hopefully you guys will, if you haven't already done that, join on up. All right, we got okay, you guys, good news, bad news. What do you want first?
Good news.
The good news is that you guys already have people who have asked questions.
It's like 15. It's about to be 15 or something stupid.
Hey, we got a heart out of one, so it's gonna hit it.
Yeah.
37 you have right now. 37. You got
in a row.
Totally gonna be 250.
Just about, almost about. You need around a little less than 220. So here we go. Day Napper. We've all tried to make plans with groups of friends. Kristian had to schedule many people for Schmodown days. Now imagine how crazy it must be to schedule an Avengers movie. Yes, 100%. However, and the earlier days to that was way more hard for me. Like when at Collider, I was the one scheduling all of it, like the spectaculars and Wendy Lee helped me tremendously. But it was essentially just me and Wendy kind of making sure people's schedules were lined up, and that really was it. And then when I went to Skybound, we had other people that were working. We had more people, but it still was a very small crew. They have a lot of people who are making phone calls and putting things together and scheduling. They're not the ones who actually do it. But yes, it's not taking away from that. You have to find out everybody's schedules. You have to find out everybody's availabilities, all that stuff.
But when you consider that your star is making what, almost $100 million or something like that, is it more than that? I can't remember what they paid Downey for the 2 or 3 movies.
His schedule is he's like whenever you need me.
But I get that, but I'm saying like for all of these people, let's say you got Simu Liu, bro, we made you the superhero. when we need you, this is the window.
But my counter, if I was his agent, dude, my counter is you haven't used him since. He's sitting around. He's got other offers on the table. He's got other movies he's got to do. He's not the lead of the movie. When do you need him? You got to let us know, and we'll put it in his schedule and make sure that happens.
Totally understand that. I just know that a lot of those contracts and the way that they work, obviously there are caveats as far as, hey, if it's this, that, and the other, then yeah, you can kind of do whatever it is. But for all of them, especially if they're a mainstay character, it is a level of you have to put us in first chair. So the idea that it's that hard to figure out, unless it's like literally Tom Holland doing the Odyssey type situation right now, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's not anyway.
Okay. Day Napper. Without saying what it is, what is the furthest you have something planned in the works? I feel like Coy has emails mentioning 2026. I guess like vacations or those types of things. There's something I think 2026, 2027 is like an idea of something that we want to do with the family and I. You guys?
My 2026 is like half, like I have stuff every other month or more. Like 2026 is not like every day is full, but like 2026 is like half full, and a couple of things 2027.
I don't have anything fully
nothing that far out.
But
oh shit. Does she know? No, you just told everybody. She doesn't have social media, does she?
She also don't watch. So
okay, good.
Congratulations.
When's that happening?
Probably the end of summer.
When's the wedding happening so I can start planning?
Oh, it's gonna be a minute because we got the whole thing is we just moved. I got
okay. So listen. So here's your answer to the person who just asked me. Whenever Winston's wedding is, that's when that's the part I find out.
That's our next live show.
Yeah, Derek Johnson, putting in some support. Thank you, Derek. John Brovina. I'm going to LA this weekend. Any recommendations what to do? I'll give you 2 food places because that's where I'm going when I go back. I tell you guys I'm coming back in August.
No.
I'm back in August. So so when I'm there, I will be going to there's a sushi place I love called You and Me Sushi. I think I took you guys there. It was delish. And then there's a place called Sunin or Sunin on Westwood Boulevard. It's a Mediterranean place. It's wonderful. So that's what I would tell you.
Not to dox myself, but Salsa and Beer is probably my favorite place in all of LA. Highly recommend Salsa and Beer. Get some parks in you. I think LA doesn't get enough credit for the fact that there is some dope scenery. Like Griffith's awesome. Runyon's like a cool tourist trap. Go to the beach. Like do the stuff we don't do living here.
Yeah. If you can make it to a Clippers game at the Intuit Dome, Intuit Arena, that place is crazy. I have never seen an arena like that. So that would be my one kind of super commercial thing to recommend doing.
Jason Ashcroft. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I'm feeling very frustrated by DC. I loved Affleck's Batman. They messed that up though. I love Pattinson and Reeves, and I don't know what's going on there now. Gunn is out talking about multiple projects before even one movie is hit. I don't know, man. I just love these characters, and they have done such a disservice done to them. Well, I mean, there's one more from Jason. We were robbed of Affleck's Batman movie, and now I feel like we're getting robbed of Pattinson's movie. I'm just over all this nonsense and ego stroking. Just make good movies. Appreciate you guys. Well, thank you, Jason, and we appreciate you too. I understand the frustration, but I think it goes back to the same thing we were talking about before. Let's see what happens first with the movies. You got to judge them on the movies themselves and the projects that come out first, right? Like, and you don't know what's going on with Matt Reeves and everything too. So I would just try to stay patient and wait and see. You got to judge them off what they make first. But I don't know, Coy, how do you feel about it?
I also think we know way too much to what Winston was saying earlier. So like and I'm coming from a place of being, born in 88. I grew up in the 90s. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're getting this movie. I'm always going to feel that way. I did a panel with Kevin Smith, Robert Kirkman, and Rob Liefeld for Multicon, and I had such a great time with them. And all of us were all like, I don't think Cap 4 was great. I thought it was good, but we're all like, we just got to see Cap fight Hulk, and that's insane. So I'm coming from a place of, I can't believe this exists. I'm just celebrating when things do happen. Ben Affleck was a great Batman, but it was a decade ago, so I don't think about it much. In a way of like waiting around. Like, it was great when I want to watch it, I have it. So I'm gonna wait and see.
Winston,
Super quick. I mean, yeah, I don't love that we were missing out on a lot of stuff, but I stand by what I said. I think one of the things that my therapist has been telling me to deal with my ADHD is to stop. That's an exception, but like to stop over announcing stuff, because there's a weird dopamine hit and or the priority doesn't get pushed quite as hard. So I think every time they announce, here's this movie and this movie and this movie, and it's going to be all of these things, you're almost cursing yourself for it to not play out.
Yeah. GoPal. Still stuck in meetings, but support. Thank you, GoPal. And then we have A Silva 88. Oscar streaming live on Hulu this year. More eyes. Maybe. But I don't know if this is the one that you want more eyes on. It's like a lot of, they just
hosting
Conan, which is great.
Oh,
yeah, I'm watching it for Conan.
Yeah. I think that would actually, that's one of the things I'm excited to see is him. The movies themselves and everything else too, and especially those comments the other day. Those were bad. Those are real bad.
Like an anti-ad. Like I feel like I'm less, and I was already gonna watch, but now I'm like,
you're still talking about the Dune thing or something else?
Just Dune. It had nothing to do with just Dune. It's the fact that like here's these voters who aren't watching the movies and not paying attention to anything that's going on.
Wasn't that the article also last year too, where someone was like, I would never vote for Angela Bassett for that. It's a superhero movie. Another one was like, oh, they're too young. Like what it feels like is they never shed that bullshit. You know what I mean? It's
absolute elitist morons that are voting and they just want to be part of a crew and part of a club, and they don't really care about the movies themselves. It's the Oscars are a joke. They're a joke. They really should have no importance. Abel John. Kristian, the Infinity Saga or up to Endgame was the golden age in the MCU. Projects after that have been now have been, not like we expected. I mean, there are a few good movies and shows, but what do you think made those first 10 years special? Well, first of all, they were able to just focus on those movies. There weren't all these different shows. There wasn't all these different things in general. Like there was just less to do. Plus, they were establishing the narrative. Now this narrative has been set, and I think that they had a clear idea from where to go from A to B from the first three phases, and they're still trying to figure it out. And if the rumor is true, they're still trying to figure it out. But I don't know, guys. What do you think?
I think if the culture hadn't shifted as much and there weren't so many variables in phase 4 and 5, like they had a plan that was way stronger for phase 1 through 3, but I do think they had a plan for 4, 5, and 6. But in phase 1 through 3, we didn't have a catastrophic pandemic, writer strike, and series of events. And on top of that, like to make that exponential, if the articles had come out during Iron Man 1 of like script isn't finished, like all this stuff that we know too much about now, I think the side of things that is too much exposure hurts, and then the variables in life. And I'm not saying the movies are as good. I do think there are hits and misses, but there's also different stakes and growth and everything we have to account for.
Let's see. Between the Panels channel, Coy, have you told Kristian and Winston about My Hero Academia?
Did you start finally?
Oh, I watched the first 3 seasons during the pandemic, but I fell off so hard.
Oh, dude, you have got to get back in there. The manga ended last year, but they got up until the final battle, and then the last season should be coming up soon. I'm doing a rewatch right now as I'm unpacking. I love that show.
I think I'm 2 seasons behind, but I saw the newest movie, so I'm like,
oh, nice,
miscellaneously behind.
Nice,
man. I've gotten into this, which is the crazy.
Really?
No.
Oh.
All right.
Every time we fall for
every time I fall for it every time. Oh, are you all watching Invincible season 3, by the way?
I am actually. I just started that one as well.
You're lying.
Yes, I'm lying.
That one I was ready for the lie.
Yes. Simon C. Recent comment from the Campy show. Usually don't like to compare, but in my opinion, quality of the show is far better than Campy. Keep it going. Well, I mean, look, John's always been very kind to me, and I'm glad that his show is doing very well, and it should be. And look, the beauty of this is, look, I know that we're also on at the same time. Now there's nothing I can do about it. I had to focus on my health, but whether or not you want to go tune in, you can watch his show live, watch us on replay, you can watch us live, you can watch him on replay. That's the beauty of this. This space is it's big enough for everybody.
And now the Real Reject show I do with Greg airs before this.
See? Smart. Mike Joyce, just want to say thanks to Coy. I enjoyed your multi-con panel, and your podcast with Greg has been fantastic.
That podcast that I airs before this.
Your microphone switch out again?
I just switched it out. Is it not working?
No, it sounds better. It sounds better.
Oh, and the multi-con panel is the one I did with Kevin, Robin. Okay. It was my favorite panel. I tried something totally new. Not my favorite panel ever, but my favorite panel recently. I prepped a ton like I always do, but then I threw it away like acting, and I like just vibed with these dudes, and we had a great time. So I appreciate that, man.
Your favorite Power Rangers series?
OG.
If not the OG, then SPD.
I don't know what any of that means.
Cool.
All right. Okay. But I believe you. Okay. Let's see. And we'll go to Simon again. Coy, what are your thoughts on the Supergirl movie and The Brave and the Bold? Any beans you would like to spill? Well, I don't think you can do that.
Lobo is in Supergirl. And Robert Pattinson is most likely not in Brave and the Bold. I mean, I think what I can say is what we're gearing up for with Supergirl, I think will be as impactful as Iron Man. And that's saying a lot. And I think Brave and the Bold is going to be different enough that it'll warrant having two very different Batman like the comics.
All right. Roman. Hey, I'll sending positive and hopeful vibes your way. Man, the Kathleen Kennedy news is giving me whiplash. She said in a Deadline interview she's not retiring and starting to look for a successor. She also said that she has a plan and is sticking to it. Thoughts? Also, what are some of your scenes that also make you laugh? Well, starting with the Kathleen Kennedy stuff, PLD sent that to me yesterday, last night, and then Luke sent it to me today, and I was going to do a separate video on it. And I said, I'm exhausted by this. I said, I'm just because it's going to go back and forth. Of course, I mean, look, she wants to go out on her own terms. I do think that she's going to be stepping down. I do think that, but what I do think, and I think she answered the question in this, she's going to have a major part in who gets the job after her. I think they're already doing that. I think they're probably going to announce it at Star Wars Celebration. Unfortunately, I think it'll probably be Filoni. And that's going to be it. And I think that Sneider said this, and I agree with him, that she's going to have the kind of role that Amy Pascal has, where she's still going to have producing credits on things, where she comes back and she's going to have, she'll have producer credits on the Sean Levy thing.
Is Amy really not involved at all anymore?
I mean, she's producer on it. I just
didn't know if it was just a producer credit.
Well, I don't know. She's not an executive anymore, but she got a producer credit. She probably still can give notes and do all that stuff too. She's a producer on it. So whatever that entails for whatever her deal is, but I think that's essentially what Kathleen Kennedy will get producer credit, and she probably won't even care to give notes and stuff too. She's like, okay, look, fine. These are the movies I set up. I'm going to be producing these types of things. I have this. If Taika winds up doing his movie, I have that. So she's going to have producer credits on all these different things, but I do think she will be stepping down. I don't know if it'll necessarily be the end of 2025, but she's going to be setting people up. I think she's going to be the one that sets Filoni up, and I think that's a nightmare of a decision.
Filoni. Oh, interesting.
To have Filoni run the company, my dog should run the company over Filoni. It's a bad move. What do you guys think about all this?
I feel like the Mandalorian and Grogu era and saga is her, like the Mandalorian starting with her. I feel like that would be a more natural progression. I think that's next year. I know she said she wants to produce until she's dead, so I assume she'll be involved in some way. I personally, I don't know how old she is, but I wouldn't want to be the head of anything at 70 or 60. I don't know how old she is, but there's an era you'd want to do something and then you just wear down. So no matter what age she is, adding 5 years or whatever, there's probably a window she wants to be out. But I don't know. I don't know nearly as much as Kristian, nor do I know as much as the people that would be taking over the job, what the responsibilities would be. Right. So I just hope that she does it in a way that feels like it suits the storytelling that's already been started, and before it's not a joy.
What do you think, Winston?
I mean, I in my mind, I don't know why I thought maybe the best answer would be a Favreau Filoni, let them do what Gunn and Safran are doing.
But who's doing the executive role in the two of them? Who's doing the Safran role if those two guys are doing?
You're saying that they're both two on the creative side of things.
Yeah, I get.
You know what? What about because one of the reports was one of the people from Bad Robot. What's her name?
Yes. The woman from Bad Robot. That's what I was going to say. I forget her name too. But I'm saying the same person. Her and Favreau. Get Filoni out of there. Get the two of them to do it. That's your team.
Sam Witwer.
Whitwer would be great.
Because I love the dude and he loves Star Wars like his own flesh.
Oh, and as far as Roman's question is, what are some movie scenes that always make you laugh? I always bring up the anything in Airplane.
Yeah, dude. I recently watched that for the first time and it blew my mind. Anchorman for me. Anchorman, I feel like before the internet and memes, everyone just quoted Anchorman at each other for 5 years, and it's still funny to me.
I've said it a million times, all of Rush Hour, but more specifically recently, Rush Hour 2, the scene with Jeremy Piven when they have to go get the clothes, that whole thing is absolutely hilarious.
All right, let's see. Next,
couldn't do it now, but
Ben Alouette. Infinity War started production in February 2017. It came out of April of 2018. Marvel has been down this road before. True, but they had a plan last time,
and they were already kind of rolling. So nobody was giving resistance because it was bro, look what we've been doing, and this is our big finale. We're not really in that space right now. That's my only caveat.
I had no idea that timeline, so that is giving me a little bit of relief. But boy, oh boy, that is a whirlwind.
Yep. Okay, next one, and this is from Big Bang OT4. Are you excited for the new Avatar animated series?
Are we talking? If we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, that whole thing being announced, then yes. There isn't an Avatar Na'vi series that's been announced, is there?
I don't think so.
Okay, so then if we're talking Avatar: Last Airbender, then yes, I am excited about that. I did see that announcement. That looks cool.
All right, Christopher Brickner. Deadline interview says Kennedy revealed that Sean Levy movie takes place after episode 9. Now I don't have to follow the movie anymore as I don't want to watch anything connected or takes place after sequel trilogy. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair because what happens what happens if they establish it really well? What happens if they establish 10, 15 years afterwards and it's not necessarily linked into those particular stories, but it's continuing on past that era and there's new characters that you learn 10, 15 years, 20 years past that era. I don't think you can't. I mean, what if somebody comes up with a time okay, look, I want to get so far past it that all this stuff has happened. There's no resistance. There's none of that stuff. It's something brand new in the world of what it is now, and they establish new characters.
Is there more to this comic? Because it says 1 to 2 at the front. I'm just curious if there was anything else that they wanted to include with this. Because I agree with you. I don't think it is fair to just say
this is the one that Ryan Gosling's supposed to be in.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think you got to know what it is. If you wake up and we're and then Luke Skywalker Force Ghost is just hanging around and Rey is out here, found herself a new Rey and all that. And it's the direct, immediate kind of the same continuation. I can understand the hesitancy and I don't blame you. But again, even if it's a good movie and they've really just kind of gone in a new direction, but yeah, I think you got to wait and see.
I see movies for the movie. I don't go in with judgment or expectation of connection, or I just like movies. So Ryan Gosling's in a movie, I'm gonna see it. Ryan Gosling's in a Star Wars movie, I'm gonna see it opening night.
I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with it. I don't mind them establishing the era. My problem with the new trilogy was there was no plan. It was thrown together. It was sloppy. The characters could have worked, and the story itself could have worked if it was placed together. So for me, I have no problem with it being in that era. Austin B, just showing some love because you gentlemen are exceptional. Plus, been loving the newer show with Coy and Greg on The Real Rejects. There you go.
I love that show. I appreciate it. It's been a challenge because we're trying to do what the internet doesn't love, which is a long form, nuanced conversation about the news and try to give opinions that might not be the popular one. It's been fun to challenge. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Christopher Brickner, personal choices after wasting years.
That was part two.
Yeah. I have money on the Star Wars sequels. I now vote with my wallet not to support anything going beyond that point in timeline. That's fair. But there's
the context we were looking for, Christopher. Sorry.
Yeah. But if others want to see it, go ahead. The personal choices. Okay, but that's fair though too. Is in the same way that my brother said the same thing. He's like, I'm no longer going to watch these shows anymore because I don't want to give them my support every time I watch it because I'm just disappointed every time I watch the damn thing. So why do I want to complain about it? I'm just not going to watch it. I think. Yeah, and that's the way Christopher Brickner is essentially talking about. He just doesn't.
It's so funny. This was a point, and then context in literally the split because within one thing we're like, okay, that tracks.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Z-Rod, are you all watching Invincible? The season's 10 out of 10. I love it. It's the best.
Really good. Did you see this recent one with Aaron Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. I fell for it again. Son of a bitch.
That was 5 minutes ago. That was 5 minutes ago.
Coy, I'm going through things, man.
I would tell people to go back and watch what just happened there and watch Coy's face. That was the best.
I'm probably going to clip that out for myself. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, that was really good. Okay. So, yeah, but you guys are watching it and you like it?
I'm a season behind. I actually didn't finish season 2, and people are like wanting me to react. I'm so far behind, but I'm hoping to catch up before season 4 next year.
No, it's. Are they already done with the season? Because I would be very upset if that's how they ended it.
I don't know, but here's the next one. Winston loves this one.
I'm the motherfucking Batman. Motherfucking Batman.
Paul Giamatti. The day that happens, I'm going to be so excited if he actually gets cast.
Batman Beyond, Old Man Bruce Wayne, Paul Giamatti.
Big Bang OT4. Hope the new head of Star Wars makes an Old Republic trilogy. Not if it's Filoni. Won't happen. Not if it's Filoni. All right, next one. And this is...
You should go run it, man.
Please. Thanks. Yeah, running Schmodown was stressful enough. Christopher Brickner. Kennedy said that Kinberg is writing the next Star Wars saga. This is concerning because Kinberg hasn't written a good screenplay since 2014 Days of Future Past. I'm telling you, I'm giving up on it. I'm giving up on it. It's like it really is. It's humorous how stupid it is. It's humorous. Tiptoe Cloud. Hey gents, what do you think of the color tone in Superman? Fine by me.
Looks like All-Star. I mean, I love All-Star. I like the vibrant Technicolor energy. I think it stands out amongst other superhero stuff because of that. And it feels like a comic without being like Wizard of Oz Technicolor. It's like in between that. So it gives it impact, in my opinion.
I mean, I like it. And again, for me, everything is context. So I know seeing it at jump, it might take you aback, but Superman is supposed to symbolize hope. So having this kind of very bright colors, that kind of falls in that category for me.
Mike Joyce. You worried the Green Lantern show will stay on Earth the whole time? It'd be fun world building for the DCU, but I feel like it should go to space.
I have a feeling they will. I think they'll end up on Oa at some point. I don't think that you bring a new Lantern into the fold and you don't, but I don't think it'll be much. It's either a little bit of a flashback. We got to go check into headquarters, and most of it will take place on Earth. And I think it should, because you want to stay focused on this case.
I think it's a cool way to build a specific tone and then grow the tone. So I personally would like if it stays on Earth. So like Kristian, like that's the best point of we want everyone to be able to like it and then invest before we go to the crazy stuff.
Right. And I think they'll do it by the end of the season. Yeah. Sean McCabe, Kristian, man. Thank you, Sean. Queens in the house.
Yoga man, your shirt.
Oh, see? Look at you. Very nice.
Observant as Coy.
That's right. Joey Pedras. Rarest comic in your collection. I have a G.I. Joe. I got like a bunch of G.I. Joe ones from the Marvel ones somewhere but I don't know where.
I've got an Amazing Spider-Man 300 that's like a 9.8, which is pretty crazy because that's the first Venom full appearance, and it's printed on black and it's double thickness. So if you open it, it drops the value. So this comic has literally never been opened. I have an Amazing Spider-Man 39, which is the Unmasking Peter Parker by Goblin. That's in incredible condition for its age, probably like a high 8. And then an Ultimate Spider-Man #1 in the high 9, signed by Brian Michael Bendis, are three of my golden goose.
A signed Berserker from Keanu Reeves.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
I don't know.
Studios?
He just made fun of the fact that I had a broken leg from playing dodgeball.
That was how did you do that, man?
Dodgeball. What?
when you shake Keanu Reeves, like when Keanu remembers a dodgeball injury of yours.
Do you know that every time Joey Pedros throws in a question, I think it's Greg Alba because that picture on the left?
I think majestic. So too. Every time. That might be his alter ego.
Bleach 74-820. Marvel needs to pause and make that lead to the next Avengers movie. Push them back and add in DS3 and CA5 to Captain 5. What's DS3?
DS.
Doctor Strange 3.
Oh, there you go.
Captain America 5.
Captain 5. To assemble the new team and set up the Incursion Doom after Fantastic Four. Thoughts?
I don't think we have that kind of patience with how the Marvel universe is going now. I don't think the audiences want more of what we didn't love. Like, I personally didn't love Doctor Strange 3. I personally liked but didn't love Cap 4. So I don't know if we want those before Avengers with the way things are now.
Winston?
Yeah, no, you if you're gonna say something like that, then you need to be like Guardians 4 and Deadpool and Wolverine 2, because those were the ones that slapped. The two you just mentioned, mixed reviews at best. And yeah, nah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Next one here. And this is from Drew Riles. I think Secret War will be 2 parts ending in November 27th. I think that's a mistake. They did that.
Yeah.
I think the story's big enough, and I think it'd be cool if, we got a trilogy out of the Russos. I just don't know. I wouldn't want it to feel bloated. I'd want it to feel like it was needed to be 2.
Yeah, that would be my thing. You need to definitely earn that. And if that's how you reset it, if the reset, and maybe that's even the delay, is it's now 3 movies. It's now Doomsday, Battle World, Secret Wars, Battle World. I don't know, whatever. Then fine, but that would really need to just flush out properly.
Okay, let's see. Next one here, and that would be the Outlaws in town. Although I identify as a feminist, I did once get drunk and call up Don Johnson just to compliment his daughter's breasts. I appreciate them, Mally. Did you ever see that interview?
No.
Oh my God, it was the best.
What happened?
Rocha was on the phone in an interview with Don Johnson for Collider, and he forgot that Dakota Johnson was his daughter, and he brought up some scene where he talked about her bra or breast or something like that, and it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
How did she come up, if not in the context of his daughter?
I can't remember how, but all I remember is him not realizing it was his daughter, and we talked. It's the best. It's the best.
That's the kind of stuff that haunts you.
Oh, it's the best. He laughed it off, and they had some fun. Like they made fun of it, but it's amazing. Justin Quinones, for Coy, Spider-Man is one of my favorite heroes. What are some comics where he learns important life lessons I could pass down to my son as he gets older?
I love this question. Amazing Spider-Man 33, find a reprint. It's from like 1965. It's about like perseverance. It's been replicated in a lot of the movies. It's the lifting up moment. I think it has really good, 60s, a little bit simpler writing about persevering. I think Ultimate Spider-Man, the 2000s run, has some of the best stuff for kids to learn life lessons because it's written from the perspective of like a teenager learning stuff. And I think that's perfect for kids as they get older. Amazing Spider-Man 230 and 231, Nothing Can Stop the Juggernaut. I think it's some really good lessons about like overcoming the boy who collects Spider-Man as he gets older. It's a really important lesson in like mortality and death. And I know that's dark, but I think kids learning about that like before movies teach them, I think like a gateway. I think it's important to address like health. And then I would say finally the wedding issue. I think Amazing Spider-Man Annual 28, a lot of villains, a lot of heroes, but like love is a through line. I think that's wonderful for kids to learn.
All right, let's see. Next one here. And that is from Armada. Who will win best cinematography? It's either Dune 2, Brutalist, or Nosferatu.
I mean, it might not be Dune 2. People aren't watching it.
I know. What I think deserves to win, either, I'll tell you what I think deserves to win is not even nominated, is Conclave. But it's not even nominated.
I still need to see Conclave.
Stupid. But it should be Dune 2 or Nosferatu, but it'll be the Brutalist.
Those are my two, is Dune 2 or Nosferatu. I think Greg Fraser's a genius, so I'd like it to be Dune 2, but Nosferatu I was struck by numerous times, so I'd be happy to do one of those.
It was pretty good, but Brutalist will win. And then Nathan Drake, the Marvels or Amazing Spider-Man 2? Amazing Spider-Man 2, hands down. Or I at least had some fun with the Marvels. Was Winston excited when they originally cast Giamatti as Rhino? It's hilarious. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is
leaps and bounds for me.
Is Dune 2 compared to the Marvels.
It also had emotional weight to it.
Yeah.
I never truly understood why people disliked that movie that much, except for maybe Giamatti's Rhino, and maybe trying to shoehorn a little too much in there at the end. But overall, I really liked that movie.
I mean, the emotional thing was, it's especially after No Way Home, the Gwen Stacy stuff just hits so hard, especially with what his arc, because No Way Home is essentially part 3 for that movie, and the Marvels, I'm telling you, the Singing Planet is the worst thing that I've ever seen in a Marvel. It's the worst. It is. I called Winston afterwards. I couldn't believe it because I thought we were going to be on the same page, and it was. I remember standing in Century City, and you're like, "I can't believe you didn't like it." I'm like, "What the hell did you watch?"
I mean, I agreed with you with the singing. The singing was, but otherwise, it doesn't matter.
You didn't mind it. Yeah, fair enough. Armada. I'm telling you, 3 new Avengers movies need to happen. Get out of it. Get to the X-Men. That's what needs to happen. They need to get to the X-Men. Virtual reality fitness. Thank you, virtual reality. Appreciate that. You guys are at 54. Not bad. Not bad. Wu-Tang's last tour this year. You guys going? I don't know if I'm going, but I love that they are doing it. I love Wu-Tang. Are you going?
So broke. I already bought Kendrick tickets. I bought Cowboy Carter tickets. Damn, I bet Wu-Tang probably 350, 400.
I'm gonna try. It actually might be a decision of Trip or Wu-Tang, but I mean, I gotta. Just the press on this tour has been great, so I gotta see Wu before. I mean, Wu-Tang is forever. I hope they come back.
Hey, Wu is for the kids, bro.
Oh, yeah, Seattle KO. Congrats, Winston. When do you guys think we'll get more news on a trailer for Predator Badlands? When's it supposed to come out? At the end of the year?
We got 2 Predator movies from Dan Trachtenberg this year. He filmed a secret one. So hopefully we get some news on either soon.
I hope so. Yeah,
maybe CinemaCon.
Maybe.
I would say April seems good for that.
Probably a good idea. Fascia Bruta. You watching the Oscars? Any personal favorite or predictions? I was answered this yesterday. I don't know if it was on the Patreon stream or the member stream. But I think I know what I'll wind up doing. I'll probably wind up watching 1923 with my wife while it's on, so it can build up, so I can fast forward through the boring speeches and the predictable nonsense. And then I'll just the speeches of people who are actually saying things relevant. Oh, Coy, I'm with you, by the way, 100%. And I don't know where Winston stands on this, but I talked about it yesterday with Steph. I'll talk about it with you. There is a woman who was talking about Timothy Chalamet's.
Oh, dude, that pissed me off so bad.
That woman.
What? Finish your sentence.
I did. You didn't.
I didn't hear what you said. Timothy Chalamet's
speech at SAG Awards. So this woman should no longer do television. She should no longer have. There was the worst and stupidest fake opinion that anyone could have. It was so stupid. And the point, the kid's speech was so honest, and her point of well, artists aren't supposed to strive to be great like basketball players and athletes. What the hell are you talking about?
And then she tried to be relevant, dude, some talk show lady, but then she tried to be relevant and quote Kendrick, and she's like, you should listen to Kendrick Lamar and be humble. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar just did that press thing with him and talk about I should have it all. It's embarrassing.
Man in the Garden.
It was the stupidest thing I ever saw. Timothy Chalamet's speech was refreshing. It was excellent.
It's like a Nike ad. It's motivated me since.
It was excellent. I think it'll probably hurt him in the Oscars, to be honest with you, but I think that it was excellent. And I love the honesty. And for so long, people were just talking about how, the people seem so fake. And I mean, this is how the kid was feeling. I love that he didn't show disrespect to anybody. He showed.
Can you find this and send it to me? Because I want to see this now.
The lady's speech is on my Twitter.
It's on your Twitter. All right.
Yeah, you can watch it afterwards. It's really, it'll piss you off because it's terrible. But yeah, the answer is I won't be watching the Oscars in real time. I need enough time to fast forward through the nonsense.
I like Conan enough. I'll be watching. Real prediction.
I'll watch his.
Yeah, I'm watching for Conan.
Yeah, I'll watch his stuff for sure. But then I'll fast forward through the nonsense. Jesse Marquez, congratulations, Winston. I'm looking forward to the Lantern Show. Very hyped. Yeah, when does that come out? Does it come out March next year?
Yeah, I know it's next year. I forget the date, but yeah, next year.
Okay. Eric Kirby, Winston, I finally finished Young Justice. It was great. Do you know if they'll have another season? What is a better show for you than that one or Invincible?
Probably Young Justice is better than Invincible for me, though. They're both very good. No, that was the whole thing. Even getting that very last season was pulling teeth in petitions and Save Young Justice and all that. We're not gonna get anything else, unfortunately.
Simon C. I like Hero Academia, but somehow stopped watching after season 3. Has the quality gotten significantly better in the later seasons?
It definitely has gotten better. I think the main takeaway, again, if you have issues with the animation, just read the manga. What it is the story just is so fantastic, especially all the stuff with Todoroki's brother, and check it out.
Crystal DW fan, the multicon video with all the rejects was amazing. Who knew Tara was a dolphin trainer? I guess I missed that. Shout out to the Real Rejects for holding a great event. Was she actually, or is it just a joke?
She was a dolphin trainer before, like coming back to LA, and like, yeah, Tara's a legit dolphin trainer.
That is hilarious. Okay, let's see. Next one after that, and I think we have a couple left. B. Gill Studios. Coy, Winston, are you reading the new Power Rangers comic, Power Rangers Prime? It is definitely a very different take on this rebooted world.
I have not been reading it. Coy?
I've not. I've read so many comics. Power Rangers just don't make the 50 comic cut, unfortunately.
Nathan Drake, Chinese food, no soul food here. RH1.
Yeah, Chinese, no soul food here. I ain't no punk bitch.
Rush Hour one is pretty funny. Andrew Kavolka, are you going to see Last Breath with Simon Liu this weekend? That's with him and Woody Harrelson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see it this weekend, but I would like to see it eventually.
I'll see it eventually. I really want to see. You guys have got me on board now that I've seen these trailers. Mickey 17. I can't wait. Monday,
man, can't wait. I'm pumped. Nathan Drake, you think Filoni has played Knights of the Republic? I don't know, maybe. Sean McCabe, regarding the possible delay for Doomsday, could it be that they're trying to fit Kang back in, or is he completely done? I think he's going to be in it, but I think that he's not going to have a relevant role. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sam, Coy?
I feel like, I mean, Jonathan Majors has that fitness movie coming out, the bodybuilding movie, and there have been some things. I just wonder if Kang is going to be Majors in anything again, or if it'll be a recast. I'm just not sure.
Okay. Andrew Krivolka, what would you think of Jensen Ackles being cast as the DCU Batman? I always liked it. I like the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to do it. I'll tell you though, my pick right now is Brendan Sklar, even more so than ever. I'm watching. Have you guys checked out 1923 yet? Okay, so Coy, all I tell you, if you have no interest in seeing 1923, like I don't really care about it, I'm probably never going to really get into it at all, then just watch episode 1 of season 2. Not for anything else except
to see him act. Okay,
he is like, there's a scene I mentioned that there's something happening to someone on this boat, and he intervenes. And when he intervenes, I was like, that's Batman.
Okay,
yeah, he is awesome. He's a movie star. He's a movie star. Jason Ashcroft, I want to clarify my comments. I'm excited for DC and what Gunn is doing. I'm just tired of getting excited for something and then not seeing it happen. I mean,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, again, we got a second text of context. That's why I personally, I know a lot of people on the internet were upset at the announcements last week, but I prefer a update. It's been 2 years versus a here's our next 5 years and nothing. Like, I think throwing a spaghetti at the wall is what a lot of phases feel like now, whereas what they're doing is just giving updates. So I think the transparency is very, for me, nice as a comic fan. I do think what they're updating is going to happen. It's going to be good and finished.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like a lot of stuff that's been announced with, again, bringing up Star Wars. Like, hey, this is going to happen. Just kidding. This is going to happen. No, it's
I'd rather not hear everyone's attached to another project again.
Scott Horowitz, can we get a group Miss Tessmacher to honor Gene Hackman? Well, the only problem with that is I feel like I get way too loud, and it's still in the offices I'm in. It's still work day. I do love his Miss Tessmacher. I love it. It's the best.
Man, I hear now that they are worried about foul play because of pills that were scattered everywhere or something.
Yeah, it was pills, and then they thought initially it was gas.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just too bizarre that the dog and the wife.
That was the thing. It was that I could see if it was just the two of them.
Yeah.
But the dog too does sound like a gas leak.
But even him, if it was him, and he's 95. He's 95 years old.
Right.
He's like 62, 63. You got to go like, well, how'd that happen? And then with the dog, there's more that's going to come out. Joe for show, he wants to shout something. So on the Spider-Man, this is like when Sam and I get together, it really is like 2 8th graders getting together again. And we're watching the scene in Spider-Man 2 when he's kind of lost his powers and he's all happy about it. And they're talking about getting chow mein, and Sam said something about she wants her chow mein, and I go, he wants to chow something. Both lost it for like a minute. Ziki Numanunglu, I want to get that right. I didn't get it right that time, but I want to try. Thoughts on the new DC Marvel crossover comic that was recently announced?
I'm really excited. Yeah, dude, they're doing for the first time in 20 years. I mean, the Amalgam comics came back earlier and they sold that immediately. So clearly, like, these conversations are ongoing. I love it personally because I think the rivalry between the companies is fans more than the companies, and this kind of shows it. So I think when comics sell, plus if you're like a DC guy and you discover a Marvel character through this combination or vice versa, that's only good for comics. So I'm all about it.
Okay, let's see. Oh, this will be for me, not you guys. Shelf presence, elimination chamber picks. I think CM Punk's going to wind up doing it. Probably be Bianca for those. I mean, if you want the full card, you got to look at the rest of the card. But I'll be watching this weekend though too. But those are my picks for the actual chamber itself. Christopher Brickner, I would love Star Wars to do adaptations of legend stories in a separate timeline. Sure, but those are books and not with Filoni. I would love to see Yu Zhongvang War properly adapted. Me too, but get rid of your expectations. I'm telling you, it's just not going to happen with comics and books and the stuff that they should do. Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. Adapting legend stories in those books and adapting those things where you have actually people who actually can write and have written stories and know the world. Of course, why wouldn't you want to adapt their stuff? But they'll never do it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Zeke, stink. Okay. No problem. Geek Lodestars. Thought the cat meowing was mine. I started to look around. What do you think of Invincible season 3? I think it's the best season so far. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I know Kristian does. He loves it.
I've been messing with you, and I've actually seen like 4 episodes of season 3.
No way.
Yeah, I have.
Fool me once, shame on you.
When you said Aaron today, I said, I know.
Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me 2 times, can put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, the peace sign. Load the chopper, let it rain on you. No,
tell you everything that happened in season 1. Are we in episode 1?
Please.
All right. So Mark M says, I'm super excited for Teen Titans in DCU. Did you get, by the way, do you guys think it's the best season, Invincible?
I haven't seen.
You haven't seen. Okay. Would you say that it's the best season? Winston asking him. I don't know.
I would say that they are doing very well right now.
Okay. Marcus M. I'm super excited for Teen Titans in DCU.
Yeah, same. And the fact that the writer of Wonder Woman is, attached, and the Wonder Woman, that makes me think not only was the Wonder Woman script so good, but they've got a plan for Teen Titans. So I'm excited.
Sun Tzu. Hey, gang. I think 2019's Joker might set the bar. Set the bar too high in comic book movies. Seems like the average moviegoer are more interested in the box office numbers more than how good a film is nowadays. I don't think
that's average moviegoer. I think
I actually don't agree with that. Yeah, I think people in maybe in this space for sure, but the average moviegoer doesn't give a crap about box office numbers.
Yeah. Also, from the standpoint of like, I had appreciated that Joker, but I don't even put it remotely close to one of my top movies up there. Like it's I don't even know if it probably cracks my top 20, but it's not even coming close to my top 10. So I don't know about all that.
Like analysts do that for box office, but the average moviegoer doesn't really care about box office. Joe for show, not his best, but I love Gene in Enemy of the State. Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I love that movie.
So good.
Have you guys seen the trailer for Warfare from A24? Is that the one with Tom Hardy? I didn't see it.
Oh no, but I can't wait for that. That's Havoc.
Okay. I don't know what Warfare is. Which one?
I'm not familiar.
Not sure which one that is. Zeke, what are your top 5 favorite MCU villains in no particular order? Mine is Killmonger. Yep. Thanos. Yep. Kingpin. Yep. Ultron. And Green Goblin from No Way Home. I would throw in. I think Michael Keaton's pretty damn good.
I agree.
Michael Keaton.
I'd throw in Kilgrave, Purple Man, David Tennant.
Oh yeah, Purple Man is
Jones.
Great. I'm just pulling up the movie list to try and remember really quickly.
Those are good. And then if
Loki, what are we doing?
Yeah, Loki. Well, yeah, but the question
doesn't matter. He started
Loki
as a villain
from Avengers. Loki from Avengers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with your 5 minus Ultron personally.
Yeah. That's it, guys. So we had a good show here today. Great show here today. Thank you, everybody who's been a part of the show. So again, 67, not too bad, not too shabby, not close to the reigning champs. That is Mike, who wins his 2nd week in a row, and Roxy coming back to win another one. But Geek Lodestars, what do you think of the new designs for the Batman comics? I think they went old school with the colors gray and blue. I like that too.
I like it a lot. I like the new symbol. It's like a play on the classic symbol, but a little more angular. I think it's going to be a fantastic book.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much. Real quick, once again, if they want to go check out the channel, where is it, Winston?
youtube.com/theswaggyblurred. Come say what's up.
youtube.com/Coyjandreau, COYJANDREAU.
That's it. So thank you for being here. Make sure you check out all of our reactions on this channel, reviews, Out of the Theater for Mickey 17 on Monday. If you haven't joined Patreon or become a member, do that, man. Got the raw reactions, all that stuff and more. So thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it. Crap and Shits comes in hot with Winston and Coy. Thank you, Crap and Shits. And that is it. So for Winston, for Coy, we'll see you guys. Have a great weekend, everybody. Really appreciate the support. Love you. See you soon. Bye-bye.